The rescue begins. The blackness of space was quiet, cold, and endless. Captain Raylan sat alone in the pilot seat of his old spaceship, the Starlight Ghost. The control lights blinked slowly. He was used to silence, used to being alone, but tonight felt different. Suddenly, a strange signal appeared on his radar. It was weak, like a whisper. It came from the Dark Zone, an area banned by the Interstellar Council. No ships were supposed to be there. Too dangerous, too many disappearances. Raylan narrowed his eyes. That's not normal, he said to himself. He tapped a few buttons. The screen showed something strange. A small ship, barely moving. Its power was low. No ID. No signal name. A distress signal? He thought about flying away. It was not his job to help. But something inside told him to go. Maybe it was his past. Maybe it was the fact that he knew what it felt like to be left behind. He turned the ship toward the signal and entered the Dark Zone. As the Starlight Ghost got closer, the strange ship came into view. It was old and broken, floating like a ghost, in space. Its name was scratched off. Its lights were off. But when Raylan scanned it, life signs. Someone's alive in there, he whispered. He suited up, took his plasma pistol, and boarded the mystery ship. Inside, the smell was awful. Oil, blood, and something worse. The halls were dark. He used his flashlight. Wires hung from the ceiling. There were cages. Metal cages. Most were empty, but not all. In one cage, a small figure sat quietly. Thin arms, glowing silver skin, and big eyes that stared without fear. She wasn't human. Raylan stepped closer. "You understand me?" he asked. The girl didn't speak. She looked maybe 16, though it was hard to tell. She wore torn clothes and had marks on her wrists, signs of chains. Behind him, a noise. Footsteps. Raylan turned fast, weapon ready. A tall alien slaver stood in the hallway. More followed. Big, armored, angry. "She's not yours." The leader growled. Raylan's mind raced. He hadn't come for a fight, but there was no way he was leaving her here. "She's not yours either," he said, and fired. Chaos followed. Laser shots flew through the halls. Raylan moved fast, dodging behind walls, taking out slavers one by one. The girl stayed quiet, watching everything. He shot the cage lock. "Come on!" he shouted. She ran to him without hesitation. They rushed back to the Starlight Ghost. The slavers chased them, shooting from behind. One bullet hit Raylan in the arm. He gritted his teeth and kept moving. The ship's door closed just in time. Raylan jumped into the pilot seat, blood dripping down his sleeve. "Hold on," he yelled. The engines roared. The ship flew into space, faster than the slavers could follow. They escaped. Inside the ship, silence returned. Raylan looked at the girl. She sat in the corner, breathing hard, her eyes glowing faintly. Still, not a word from her. "Do you have a name?" he asked. She looked at him. Slowly, she shook her head. Raylan sighed. He didn't know what he had just gotten into. But something told him this was no ordinary alien girl, and this was no simple rescue. Out the window, the stars moved quietly, but in the darkness behind them, danger was still following. The silent passenger Captain Raylan had seen many strange things. In space, pirates, black holes, space storms. But nothing felt as strange as the silent girl sitting just a few steps behind him. She hadn't said a word since he rescued her. Not even a thank you. Not a single sound. She sat cross-legged on the cold floor of the Starlight Ghost, watching him. Her glowing silver eyes didn't blink much. Her skin looked like moonlight, smooth, pale, and slightly translucent. But it wasn't her alien look that unsettled him. It was the way she stared. Unblinking. Calm. Like she was waiting for something. Raylan tried again. "You hungry?" She didn't answer. "You speak Galactic Common? English?" No reply. Raylan sighed, and walked to the kitchen module. He made 2 ration packs, one for him, one for her. He placed the second pack on the floor in front of her. She didn't touch it. He sat across from her, tired, confused, and with a sharp pain in his arm from the gunshot wound. "You got a name?" "Still nothing." "Okay then," he muttered, chewing slowly. Silent type. That night, Raylan slept with one eye open and a plasma knife under his pillow. The next morning, things got stranger. Raylan woke up to an alarm blaring from the cockpit. The ship was slowing down, on its own. What the hell? He rushed to the controls. Engines offline. Navigation. System scrambled. This doesn't make sense. He checked the logs. Someone had accessed the core controls from the cargo bay, where the girl had spent the night. Raylan stormed toward the back of the ship. She was still there, still silent. But this time, she was standing. Her hands were out. In the air around her, tiny lights floated like dust. Blue, green, and purple particles shimmered and spun around her body. Raylan froze. "What are you doing?" he asked. She turned her head slowly. The lights disappeared in a blink. The ship powered back on. All systems returned to normal. Raylan's heart pounded. That wasn't tech, he whispered. That was something else. The girl sat down again, as calm as ever. He didn't sleep that night. By the 3rd day, he gave her a name, Lena. It felt strange calling her the girl all the time. She didn't argue. So Lena it was. Raylan did what he could, scanned her DNA, tried to match her with known alien species. Nothing came up. She didn't exist in any database. A ghost. That's what she was. And yet, she seemed to know her way around the ship. She wandered into rooms he hadn't shown her. She touched panels and doors that were locked, and they opened. One evening, he caught her standing near the star map, her hand on the holographic projection. She moved the stars like she'd seen them before. She paused at one, a dark, unmarked point in the galaxy. "You know that place?" he asked. No answer. But her hand trembled. Later that night, a warning flashed on the screen. Unknown ship detected, following at high speed. Raylan's heart dropped. He scanned it. Slaver markings. "They found us," he muttered. He turned on stealth mode, cut off the lights, and dropped speed. He didn't want to fight again, not with an injured arm, not with an alien girl who could control his ship with glowing dust. But the enemy ship didn't fire. Instead, it sent a message. Raylan opened the audio. "You took something from us. We don't care about you, Captain. Just give her back." The message ended. Raylan stared at Lena. She sat in her usual corner, staring at the wall, still and quiet. "What are you?" he asked, not expecting an answer. This time, she spoke. Just one word. Soft but clear. "Danger." Raylan stepped back. His voice cracked. "You mean they're dangerous?" She looked at him for the first time with emotion in her eyes. "No," she said. "Me." The hunter arrives for 2 days. Captain Raylan kept the ship in the shadow of a dead moon. Engines silent. Lights off. No signals. Just darkness. Lena sat near the observation window, watching the stars like they were speaking to her. She hadn't said another word since she told him. Me. Raylan couldn't stop thinking about it. What did she mean? Was she dangerous? Or were they after her because she was powerful? He didn't know. But he was sure of one thing. The slavers weren't giving up, and he was right, because something worse was coming. It started with a whisper, not a sound, not a signal, but a feeling. Raylan was checking the ship's systems when he felt a strange cold rush over his skin, like someone was watching him from behind. He turned. Nothing. But Lena looked up sharply. She stood, eyes glowing brighter than before. "He's near," she whispered. Raylan's heart raced. "Who?" Lena didn't answer. The radar blinked. A small red dot appeared on the edge of the screen. It wasn't there a second ago. No ID, no signal, but moving fast, too fast. Raylan zoomed in. That's no slaver ship. The ship was jet black, almost invisible in space, sharp like a knife, and moving like it was hunting prey. Suddenly, the Starlight Ghost shook. No weapons fired, Raylan said. What the? The ship wasn't attacking, it was scanning them, from a distance. Lena backed into a corner, her breath short, her body tense. It's him, she said. The Hunter. Raylan had heard the name in stories. A myth. A creature. Used to scare pirates. A man with no face, no voice, only missions. He was not part of the slavers. He worked alone. He was called the Ghost Hunter. And now, he wanted Lena. Raylan made a choice. Run. He turned on the ship's engines and pushed to full speed. The Ghost Hunter followed. He's locking on, Raylan shouted. No ship outruns him, Lena said quietly. Watch me try. The Starlight Ghost dove into an asteroid field. Rocks the size of cities floated in silence. A single mistake meant death. Raylan moved through the maze like a shadow. Lena held onto the wall, watching the radar. The Hunter didn't slow down. He's still there, she said. Raylan growled. How's he flying like that? No one can follow me through this. Lena, look down. He's not flying. What? He's falling. Before Raylan could ask, a blast of black energy hit the back of the ship. The lights flickered. Power dropped to 40%. Shields down, Raylan shouted. How did he do that? Then came the sound. A soft knock. On the outside of the ship. Raylan froze. That's not possible. We're moving at 2,000 kph. He can't be outside. The knock came again. 3 slow taps. Lena whispered, He found me once before. I ran. He doesn't fail twice. Raylan grabbed his weapon. He's not taking you. You can't stop him. Watch me. Raylan suited up and went to the outer airlock. He planned to check the hull. Maybe the knock was a trick. Maybe the Hunter had some kind of drone. As the airlock opened, a shadow moved behind the glass. Raylan raised his weapon, then it disappeared. He stepped outside onto the surface of the ship. There was nothing there. Just black space. And silence. Then his comm crackled. Lena's voice, shaky. He's not on the ship. He's in your head. Raylan felt something cold, touch the back of his neck. He turned. Still nothing. But something was invisible. Or not. Not fully real. He ran back inside and locked the airlock. When he entered the cockpit again, Lena was standing by the controls. Her skin was glowing. Her hair floated slightly, like she was underwater. What are you doing? He asked. She didn't answer. Her hands were on the nav system. I'm taking us somewhere safe, she said. Raylan shook his head. You can't just take control. We don't have time to argue. He's inside now. What do you mean, inside? The ship, the systems, the walls, he's looking? Raylan didn't understand it, but he felt it. Like the walls were breathing, like the lights were watching him. Then everything stopped. The ship froze in place. In front of them, on the radar, a new signal. A planet. Not on any map. Covered in clouds. No cities, no signals, just quiet. He can't follow us here, Lena said. Raylan frowned. Why not? She turned to him slowly. Because this place is older than him. Older than everything. Raylan looked out at the ghost planet. Then what's down there? Lena finally spoke the words that would change everything. Answers. Secrets of the past. The planet looked dead. No light, no cities, no signal. Just thick clouds swirling like smoke and dark mountains rising like frozen waves. Captain Raylan had seen many planets, but none had felt like this. Cold, ancient, waiting. Lena stood silently beside him in the cockpit. Her glowing silver eyes stared down at the world below like she had seen it before. Maybe in a dream, or a memory. You've been here, Raylan said. She nodded. A long time ago, she whispered. He wanted to ask more, but something in her voice stopped him. The starlight ghost entered the planet's atmosphere. As they flew lower, the clouds began to clear. The land was quiet, gray and lifeless. But then, through a break in the mist, they saw it. A city, or what was left of one. Tall black towers, broken and leaning. Roads that led nowhere. Buildings cracked open like old bones. All of it half buried, in dust and silence. Raylan landed the ship near what looked like a temple, a large structure with no doors, just a wide entrance shaped like an open eye. "Is this where you're from?" he asked. "No," Lena said softly. "But this is where it began." They stepped out of the ship. The ground felt strange under Raylan's boots, soft, like ash. The air was heavy and quiet in a way that pressed against his ears. Inside the temple, the walls were covered in symbols. Lines, circles, and shapes that glowed faintly when Lena walked past them. She wasn't just visiting this place. She was connected to it. Raylan watched as the walls responded to her presence. A deep hum filled the air. The light followed her steps. Then, a voice echoed through the chamber, but it wasn't human. It spoke in a language Raylan didn't understand. Lena whispered back in the same tongue. Raylan stepped closer. What did it say? She looked at him. Her eyes had changed, glowing brighter than ever. It said, "Welcome back." They reached the center of the temple. There, floating above a stone platform, was a sphere of light. Lena stepped toward it. As her hand touched the sphere, images filled the air. Memories, a world of light. Her people, thousands of them. Tall, glowing, beautiful, peaceful, powerful. Then darkness. A war, slavers, machines. One by one, her people were taken or destroyed. Raylan watched in silence. Lena was the last survivor. "This is what they fear," she said. He turned to her. "Who? The slavers?" "No. Everyone." The light changed. Now it showed her. Younger, smaller, surrounded by scientists and guards. She was in chains, needles, tests. "They wanted to understand me," she said. "Control me, use me." Raylan felt cold. "That's why they were transporting you." "They couldn't unlock my gift," she said. "But they knew I was a weapon." "A weapon?" Lena stepped away from the light. "I didn't want to be. I only wanted to survive, to find home again. But there is no home left, only this." She looked around the temple. This place was built by my ancestors. A safe place, a last memory of what we were. Suddenly the lights dimmed. The humming stopped. The ground shook. Raylan grabbed his weapon. "What now?" Lena's eyes widened. "He found us." Raylan turned to the entrance. A black mist was seeping in through the air. The shadows grew deeper, stretching across the floor like claws. From the darkness a figure appeared. Tall, thin, wrapped in armor that didn't shine. A mask with no face. No eyes. Just a voice. Deep, cold, and echoing inside their minds. "You were warned, Captain." Raylan raised his weapon. "Get away from her." The ghost hunter took one step forward. Raylan fired, a direct hit, but the bullet passed through him like smoke. "You cannot kill what doesn't live." Raylan stepped in front of Lena. "I won't let you take her." The hunter tilted his head. "You still don't understand." He pointed at Lena. "She is not a girl. She is not a victim. She is a key. And if that key turns, your galaxy ends." Raylan looked at Lena. "What is he talking about?" She looked down. "I didn't know before. But now I remember." She stepped forward, facing the hunter. "I was created to open a door." "A door to what?" Raylan asked. She turned to him. "A prison." The hunter spoke again. "She's the last of her kind for a reason. Her people sealed something long ago. Something that must never return. Lena's voice was calm now. I carry the code. The last code. If I die, the prison stays locked forever. But if I live, she looked at Raylan. Others will come. More than slavers. More than hunters. Raylan was silent. The weight of her words filled the room. She was not just a passenger. She was not just a survivor. She was a choice. The ghost. Hunter vanished into mist, a warning, not a fight. Raylan looked around. The temple lights had gone cold. What do we do now? He asked. Lena looked at the stars through the temple ceiling. We run. We hide. And then, we fight. Raylan clenched his fists. Then let's start, with the ones who sold you. Lena nodded, her eyes were glowing again, but this time not with fear, with fire. The betrayal captain Raylan didn't speak much as they left the ghost planet. He couldn't. His hands were tight on the controls, eyes fixed on the dark screen in front of him. But his mind was somewhere else. Lena sat in the co-pilot seat, her silver eyes watching the stars, silent but alert. Since the hunter's warning, something had changed in her. She moved with purpose now. Not like someone hiding, but like someone preparing for war. Raylan finally spoke. There's someone we need to find. Someone who can give us names. Lena looked at him. Slavers? He nodded. And the ones behind them. They traveled to a broken moon near the edge of the Zari system. It was lawless space, full of smugglers, bounty hunters, and people who didn't want to be found. Perfect for secrets. Raylan docked the ship in a hidden bay, then walked into an underground station with Lena close behind. The air was thick with smoke and engine fumes. Neon lights flickered. Faces turned as they passed, some curious, others afraid. They reached a quiet bar in the back corner of the station. Raylan stopped outside the door. He's in there, he said. Who is he? Lena asked. Raylan hesitated. A man I used to work with. The bar was dim. Inside, a group of rough-looking men sat around a table. At the center was a tall man with scars down his neck and cybernetic eyes. His name was Dresk. The moment he saw Raylan, he smiled. Well, well, Dresk said. Didn't think I'd see you again. Raylan didn't return the smile. We need to talk. Dresk raised an eyebrow. Then he noticed Lena. That her? He asked. The girl from the slaver ship? Raylan's jaw tightened. You heard? We all heard. You made noise, Captain, and not the kind people forget. Lena stayed quiet, but her body tensed. Dresk leaned forward. She's worth a lot, you know. Half the outer systems are offering bounties. Even the Syndicate wants her. Raylan slammed a metal disc on the table. I'm not here to sell. I'm here for answers. Dresk smiled slowly. Ah, that's the old Raylan, still playing the hero. Even after what you did. Lena turned to Raylan. What does he mean? Raylan didn't answer. Dresk stood. You didn't tell her, did you? Lena stepped forward. Tell me what? Dresk looked at her with a twisted smile. He worked for them, the slavers, long time ago. Helped them find targets, weak colonies, easy captures. Raylan's face went pale. Lena's eyes widened. It's not true, Raylan said quickly. Not like that. I didn't know what they were doing at first. Dresk laughed. That's the best part, he found out, and he still stayed. Raylan stepped toward him. I left. After how many were taken, the room went silent. Lena stared at Raylan. Her voice was calm, but cold. You lied to me. I was trying to protect you, Raylan said. No, she whispered. You were trying to protect yourself. She turned and walked out. Raylan followed her through the halls past the crowd. Lena, wait. She stopped suddenly. Behind them, an explosion rocked the dock. Raylan turned just in time to see a group of Syndicate hunters pouring in, armored, armed, and fast. It's a trap, he shouted. Dresk's voice came over the comm. Sorry, Captain. Nothing personal. Business is business. Raylan grabbed Lena's arm and pulled her behind cover. Laser fire lit up the walls. Lena looked at him, fury in her glowing eyes. You brought me here. You betrayed me. I didn't know they'd be waiting. I trusted you. Raylan, took a deep breath and pulled something from his belt. A small cube. "What's that?" she asked. "Insurance?" He threw it on the ground. It exploded in a flash of light, knocking back the hunters for a moment. They ran. As they reached the ship, Raylan's voice cracked. "I made mistakes. I was lost, I was angry, but I'm not that man anymore." Lena didn't reply. She entered the ship in silence. The doors sealed behind them. As the Starlight Ghost blasted off into space, Raylan sat quietly in the cockpit. Lena stood behind him. "I want to believe you," she said. "But if you lie to me again..." She paused. "I'll leave you in the stars." Raylan nodded slowly. "You won't have to." Later that night, Lena stood alone in the observation room. Her fingers moved slowly over the console, pulling up a map of the galaxy. She zoomed in on a hidden sector. A red dot blinked on the edge. She whispered, "They're moving faster than I thought." She didn't notice Raylan watching her from the hallway. "What is it?" he asked. She looked at him, her voice calm again. "The prison isn't holding." Raylan's blood ran cold. "You mean, it's opening?" She nodded. "Soon. The choice." The stars outside were silent, but inside the Starlight Ghost everything felt heavy. Raylan sat alone in the cockpit, staring at a blank screen. His knuckles were white around the control stick. He hadn't spoken much since they escaped. The trap on the Zari moon. He kept replaying Lena's words in his head. "I'll leave you in the stars." He didn't blame her. She had every right to be angry. He had lied. Maybe not with words, but by hiding the past. And in space, secrets could kill faster than bullets. In the ship's engine room, Lena stood before the star map. Her eyes weren't just watching it. They were reading it. Her fingers moved quickly, drawing paths between stars. She wasn't just trying to escape anymore. She was building a strategy. A warning had returned from the ancient planet. The prison was weakening. And now the syndicate, the slavers, even the ghost hunter, they were all just shadows of a much bigger threat. A returning force. Something old, something forgotten, something her people had sealed away. And she was the only key. Suddenly, alarm screamed through the ship. Raylan jumped to the controls. "Incoming message. Encrypted," the ship AI said. Raylan opened it. A face appeared on screen. Cold, human, and familiar. Commander Oris, former head of the Earth Federation's Intelligence Division. Raylan had worked under him. Long ago. "Captain Raylan," Oris said, his voice flat. "You've been busy." Raylan didn't respond. "I know you have her," Oris continued. "We've been tracking you since the dead planet. You made contact with something ancient and unstable." Raylan's jaw tightened. "She's not unstable." "She's not a girl," Oris replied. "She's a weapon, and we need her." The screen shifted. A live feed appeared of a massive Earth Federation research station orbiting a distant sun. "Come to these coordinates," Oris said. "Bring the girl. We will protect her, control her, study her." Raylan narrowed his eyes. "You want to lock her up?" "It's for the greater good," Oris said. "This is bigger than one life, Raylan. Don't be a fool. Earth itself is at risk." The message ended. Lena entered the cockpit seconds later. Raylan looked up at her. "They found us." She didn't look surprised. "I know. I saw the signal bounce through 5 satellites. They've been watching since the temple." Raylan stood. "They want you to come in. They say they can protect you." Lena stared at him. "You believe that?" "No," he said. "But they'll keep chasing us until you're in chains or dead. And if they catch us with no plan..." He didn't finish the sentence. Lena turned and stared at the stars through the glass. "If I go," she said quietly, "they'll study me. Try to take the knowledge. The code. But they won't understand it. They'll try to use it as a weapon, and they'll break it." "And if you don't go?" Raylan asked. Lena didn't turn around. "Then the prison opens." Hours later, they landed on the outer ring of the Earth Federation station. Raylan had sent a coded message ahead. "We're coming in." She'll decide. Lena stepped onto the landing platform with her hands unclenched. No fear, no hate, just resolve. Federation soldiers stood in a line. Commander Oris waited at the center. He stepped forward. Lena, isn't it? I'm Commander Oris. We're here to help you. Lena looked around. Then she walked, not toward him, but to the edge of the platform. She raised her hand. For a moment, Raylan thought she was surrendering. Then the sky split. A ripple moved through space, a pulse of blue energy shot from her palm. It passed over the station like a wave. Suddenly, the soldiers' weapons powered down. The lights flickered. Every screen on the station went dark. Lena turned to Oris. You want to protect your world? Then listen. Her voice echoed across the platform. A gate is opening near the edge of known space. My people built it to hold something back. If that seal breaks, it won't be pirates or slavers or assassins you'll be dealing with. She pointed to the stars. You'll be facing extinction. Raylan stepped beside her. You heard her, he said. This isn't just about control. It's about survival. Oris looked shaken. Then what do you suggest? Lena's expression turned hard. Let me lead. Let me go to the gate. I'll seal it myself. Permanently. Oris frowned. And if we say no? Raylan's voice turned sharp. Then you'll have a war, with her on the other side. A long silence followed. Then, Oris stepped back. So be it. He handed Raylan a chip. Coordinates. The gate. We'll clear your path, but don't make me regret this. Raylan nodded once. He and Lena walked back to the ship in silence. But just before they entered, Lena whispered, Thank you for choosing me. Raylan didn't smile. He just said, No more running. We finish this. As the Starlight Ghost launched back into the stars, Lena sat in the co-pilot seat. Raylan looked at her and asked the question he'd been avoiding for too long. If you seal the gate, what happens to you? Lena looked away and didn't answer. From captive to companion, the ship was quiet. Too quiet. Captain Raylan sat in the pilot's seat watching the stars drift past like memories. His jaw was clenched, his hands steady on the controls. But inside, a storm was brewing. Behind him, Lena stood near the star map, her eyes glowing faintly, scanning the route to the edge of the galaxy, to the place where it all began and where everything could end. The gate. The prison her people built, the lock only she could open or seal forever. The Earth Federation had cleared a narrow corridor through hostile space. Raylan's ship flew alone now, no backup, no fleet, no promises. They had made a choice. Trust, but neither of them knew what waited on the other side. As they neared the coordinates, the stars began to change. Colors shifted, gravity twisted. Time felt slower. Lena moved to the front window. There it is, she whispered. Raylan stared in silence. Ahead, floating in the darkness, was the gate, a colossal ring of stone and light, ancient beyond understanding. It wasn't built, it had grown, alive, breathing, waiting. Around it, pieces of broken ships and burnt satellites drifted like bones. Some had tried to enter before. None had returned. Raylan landed the ship on a floating platform nearby. The atmosphere was strange, thin, electric, like every molecule wanted to speak. They stepped outside. Lena's feet touched the stone like she had walked there 1,000 times. She raised her hand. The gate responded. Symbols lit up. A hum filled the air. And then, a crack. Thin at first, then wider. The gate began to open. Raylan pulled out his pistol. Are you sure about this? He asked. Lena didn't turn around. No. He waited. Finally, she spoke again. But I'm the only one who can stop it. Suddenly, the sky behind them ripped open. A ship dropped from subspace, sleek, black, and burning with red light. Raylan cursed. The syndicate, dozens of soldiers poured out, plasma rifles, heavy armor. Behind them stepped a figure wrapped in shadow, the ghost hunter. But something was different. His armor cracked with energy. His voice, when it spoke, didn't echo like before. It screamed. You open the gate. You destroy everything. Raylan stepped in front of Lena. You said she's the key to sealing it. The hunter's head tilted. She is. But the seal must be buried with her. Lena's voice was calm. You lied to me. I was made to stop what sleeps. The hunter growled. And I will, even if I must destroy you to do it. The air exploded with sound. Gunfire, smoke, screams. Raylan and Lena ran behind cover. Energy bolts blasted the stone. Raylan returned fire, picking off syndicate soldiers one by one. But more kept coming. Lena knelt on the ground, hands glowing. She wasn't hiding, she was charging. I can close the gate, she shouted. But once, it's sealed. I won't be able to leave. Raylan froze. No, he said. There's got to be another way. There's not, she said. If you stay here, you die. She looked at him, for the first time with something real in her. Eyes, not fear, not anger, peace. Then I die for something real. The hunter broke through the smoke, charging toward them. Raylan turned, gun ready, but he was too slow. Lena stepped forward. She raised both hands. A pulse of energy slammed the hunter back, cracking his armor, sending him flying off the platform. The gate behind her was wide open now, swirling with cosmic light, pulling everything toward it like a black hole. Raylan ran to her. Lena, please. She smiled. You were the first one who didn't see me as a weapon. You're not, he said. You're my friend, my... She touched his face gently. I was a captive. Now I choose. A tear slipped down his cheek. Lena turned and stepped into the gate. The light swallowed her. The gate shook. Symbols blinked rapidly. Then, one last flash of white, and silence. The gate sealed shut. Forever. Later, Raylan stood alone on the platform. His ship behind him. The stars above him. The galaxy. Saved. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small object, a glowing crystal. It was part of Lena's necklace. She had given it to him just before the battle. He held it tightly. You were never the weapon, he said. You were the lock, and the shield. He turned toward the ship. But now, you're my story. 1 year later, across the galaxy, peace had begun to grow again. The syndicate collapsed. The slavers disappeared into hiding, and stories spread. Stories of an alien girl with silver eyes who stopped the end of everything. Most called it a myth, a legend. But Raylan knew the truth. He flew from system to system, helping those forgotten by war. He was no longer a smuggler. He was a messenger, and every time someone asked why he fought so hard, he simply said, because once I rescued a girl who saved the galaxy. The end.